Jorge Salgado is a modder turned veteran area designer, having worked on an expansive array of titles at Obsidian, such as Tyranny, Pillars of Eternity, Fallout New Vegas, and its upcoming spiritual successor, The Outer Worlds. Further, he was one of the most integral members on FNV's team, as he was the only developer familiar with the engine when he joined. So to begin, I asked Jorge when he joined Obsidian, and about his role as an area designer on the project. I joined Obsidian shortly after FNV started production. It was my work on Oscuro's Oblivion overhaul and my familiarity with the technology that caught their interest, and I soon got busy with Quest, designing areas, populating and polishing the wasteland, encounters, scripting systems, and writing dialogue. I started with the strip, creating Michelangelo's questline and designing the workshop. Then I jumped to Vault 21, also designing it from beginning to end, including propping, lighting, Sarah and Carlito's dialogues, etc. That led to the Gamora quest Bye Bye Love with Joanna. Soon after that, I got involved in optimizing and polishing the strip itself, creating the final shape of the area and its scripting, random NPCs moving in between casinos, the Securitron defenses, day-to-night cycle changes, and its unique, goofy scenes, such as the one where a bunch of ladies decide to take a swim in the Ultralux fountain. Part of that also involved scripting Yes Man's immortality. Piece of work, that was. I'll note that the casinos themselves were very well handled by other designers. The strip had constant work pouring into it for much of development, given its importance and amount of content, so I diverted my focus into other areas. It was then that I started with the Wasteland's encounters, wildlife, prospectors, and its secondary dungeons and locations, like Deathclaw Promontory, Deadwind Cavern, and so forth. It was around this time when I expanded the creature set to have a wide variety of monsters, young, adult, giant, and then legendary versions. Similar to how I did in Oscuro's Oblivion overhaul, but this time with even more resources. Lots of structural work happened alongside implementation in this phase, including the above, but also expanding the game's loot list, the disguise system, AI interrelations, and a bunch of other stuff. I also designed, implemented, and finished all the sewer systems under New Vegas itself, including the Thorn, its quest Bleed Me Dry, Red Lucy's dialogues, and all the scripting that handled the arena-style battles you could fight or bet on in there. During that time, I also worked on the outskirts of New Vegas, doing the quest Someone to Watch Over Me, taking care of its dialogues and scripting, Andy, Alice, Jules, etc. Given that I was already working in the area for optimization reasons. At one point, we got to optimizing the wasteland itself in order to improve performance. I was largely responsible for that as well. It meant having to go in and remove unnecessary props, swap textures to achieve a lighter memory footprint, and so forth, while conserving visual impact and aesthetics. That was difficult to do because it also meant having to change some great looking areas on which our talented world-building team had worked. It meant having to cut around my own work too. That was the time where I trimmed down the complexity and variety of the entire Wasteland's population. Finally, I ended with the design of the Legate's camp, including its area and scripted boss fight at the end of the game. The northwest and southwest sewers are two cut locations that were nearly complete. So I asked why these interesting areas were ultimately cut. I agree, but the sewer systems are already huge. I was the only one working on them too, from layout to art to scripting, combat, quest, etc. Pretty much as every other specific area I worked on, except the strip's exterior, which had a lot of custom art. In the end, for the better. There's people who have played the game from start to finish and never even knew that the sewers existed. When I spoke with Chris Avallone, he mentioned that the city of New Vegas was originally a large open area. So I asked Jorge how the strip changed throughout development due to console limitations. Yes, the strip started as a fully open area. We went through several iterations. It was huge when I first joined the project, still crude and coming together. Compacted it, populated it, and finally added the walls to make the memory constraints of the consoles play nice with this expensive and centerpiece area of the game. As you've noticed, I made sure to disable some features for certain consoles. Nothing huge, but it helped with having the area run smoothly. We did tweak the look of the walls and remove some towers, but there was no other major content that we cut from the strip. Most of its meandering NPCs, unique sequences, scripted random events, Securitron attacks, etc. were conserved. Finally, Jorge ended our interview with this, and it's perhaps my favorite quote from any of the developers I've interviewed. To wrap all of this up, I'll say that the cuts we did to FNV's content were necessary, and in some important respects, not just for performance reasons. We had an incredibly gifted team, full of passion and good ideas and hard work, and one that was furiously pouring their best to make a great game. Inevitably, especially in a short development cycle, some things need to go in order to make others shine. Bethesda was a joy to work with, and they gave us free rein to make the best out of the game. Optimizing and cutting content from it was, in the end, the right decision. I hope that answers most of what you asked. It's been a pleasure to go back through the memory lane. I'm sure there are many things I forget to mention, but one that stands out above all the rest is that the making of Fallout New Vegas was an experience that the entire team will always remember with pride. We're extremely happy with its reception and its endurance. Not every day one gets to be part of what is widely considered as one of the best RPGs ever made. And that's all for part 1 of my interview with New Vegas area designer Jorge Salgado. As always, thanks for watching.